The best affordable alternatives to expensive niche fragrances. I know that times are tough, economic times are tightening on a lot of people. There's some great niche fragrances out there that are unfortunately very highly priced, but there are a lot of options in the fragrance industry today. So in today's video, I want to highlight 8 popular niche fragrances with their alternatives that I think are the best to be able to achieve a similar effect or similar scent profile for a much better price. So a few of these are clones, but mostly these are just alternatives that I just think are really good options for the price you are paying. Let's begin. Parfum de Marly's Layton, one of the sexiest niche fragrances out there, super beginner friendly for the brand of Parfum de Marly as well. Spiced apple, fresh powdery pie that has a lot of nice vanilla in there, some rose aspects as well. It's beautiful, gourmand but fresh, versatile perfumery. A fantastic clone is Detour Noir by Haramain. Super excellent clone. 1/8 of the price, extremely long lasting, 10 hours, very similar scent profile, not quite the quality, the roundedness of the original Layton. Doesn't make Layton redundant, but let's say you have Layton, you want to save your sprays because it's an expensive fragrance, then you can go for Detour Noir as your daily driver. That is still incredible quality for the price you are paying. 32% of people who watch School of Scent are subscribed to us. If you guys want to see our channel grow, to really help us out, click subscribe. Let's get that number to 40%. Thank you. Next up, we have Kilian's Angel Share, which is a really famous fragrance in the niche side now. A lot of people are hyping this up. It's winning awards left, right, and center, and for good reason. I think it's got a beautiful balance of amber, boozy notes, gourmand notes in here as well, and a spicy cinnamon, iconic cinnamon note in there as well, making this a really well-balanced, gorgeous smelling, smooth, unisex evening scent. If you want to smell like money, like luxury in the evening time, Angel Share is famous for that reason. However, you can get a very similar effect with a much more affordable fragrance. And it kind of makes sense, this choice, because a lot of people actually compare Angel Share to Eau Jan by Parfum de Marly. And Eau Jan also has this sort of apple pie, spiced cinnamon effect as well, also vanillic. So it's kind of like a more dense version of Angel Share, but the fragrance I'm recommending to you overall is Alexandria Fragrance's Apple Crumb. This is a fragrance I had a 5 ml sample of. This is a fantastic clone of Eau Jan. And Eau Jan, as I said, is kind of similar to Angel Share in a way. It smells gourmand. It smells like a sweet apple pie. It's not a balanced, fresh one now like Layton. This is like gourmand level here. Delicious, realistic, really good quality perfumery for how affordable it is. I think the Alexandria Fragrances lineup is just fantastic. In general, it's one of the best clone houses in my opinion. And it had pretty good performance from what I remember. This was a few years back, but this is a fantastic alternative to Angel Share if you don't want to go for one of the clones. I know there's Kismet Angel, I think is a clone, and there's also Haramain, which is kind of a clone, kind of inspired by it, but not exactly a clone. So I would say go for Apple Crumb. That's my recommendation from what I've tried. Then we have Creed Aventus. Now this is a fragrance, of course, it's very popular, but obviously there's a lot of alternatives. I'd say don't get the original Aventus anymore, go for Aventus Absolute if you got the money for it. It basically seems to be a better version of Aventus, kind of restores it to its former glory days. Aventus, if you don't know, is fruity, pineapple, citruses with smoky woods as well. That's the classic Aventus DNA. Very popular for good reasons, very nice, good daily driver. However, a lot of people are upset that now Aventus doesn't perform as much as it used to, and it's not a good value for money fragrance. Instead of just recommending to you guys a simple clone, I'll recommend this to you instead, which is an alternative. Mancera Cedrat Boise Intense. This is still smoky, masculine, and mature like Aventus is, but you're getting a more distinct DNA now. This focuses more on the lemon than anything else. It's not really a pineapple fragrance. I think blackcurrant is in Cedrat Boise Intense, but it's more of a sharp, masculine, and commanding fragrance. Kind of like what Aventus used to be before it kind of became a lot weaker. So I kind of think if you want a similar effect, but in a different fragrance, you can go for Cedrat Boise Intense. I think this is a phenomenal fragrance, one of my favorites from Mancera, a 10 out of 10 in my opinion, lasts 12 hours with a medium projection. Penhaligon's Halfeti, or also their Blazing Mr. Sam. I kind of have these two fragrances together because they smell fairly similar, but overall they are spicy, fuzzy, woody fragrances. I kind of focus on the notes of oud, but I don't think oud is in either one of them in its real form. So this is a very nice evening DNA, or just a signature DNA in general. If you want to smell regal, distinct, Penhaligon is very gentlemanly in general. I think this is more of a masculine leaning fragrance. And it's a great way to get into beginner, quote unquote oud. But there is an alternative that has a very similar effect to this, and that is Chopard Oud Malaki, which is woody, spicy, fuzzy perfumery as well. You can get this fragrance at fantastic prices. Make sure you're not paying full price. I think full price is like £90, but usually you can get it for around half that price. So 40 or 50 pounds you should be paying for Oud Malaki. Great synthetic oud perfumery, but that introduces you into the style really nicely. It's a pretty good beginner-friendly oud that I recommend. It has a very similar effect. It's not as attractive as Halfeti in my opinion, but it's good for the price in my opinion. It's a great way to introduce yourself to this style. Then we have Kilian's Black Phantom. Now this is a fragrance that is very gourmand. If you want your fragrance to smell edible, this is the fragrance for you. I think it has dark chocolate, dark coffee notes in here with caramel. I think it has whiskey in here. Interesting note breakdown. It's very dark, very intense, and it kind of doesn't really hold back in how gourmand it is. I think it's quite a tricky fragrance to pull off. I think it's fair enough for how it's priced. I think it is worth its price tag, definitely, but I think there are easier fragrances that are better in their affordability, and this is the one I recommend. Mancera's Amore Caffe. So Amore Caffe is a very beautiful new release. I'm wearing it now, one spray, but it's kind of got a very similar idea to Black Phantom, but done in a more powdery and easy to like way. It's more easy to like compared to Black Phantom. It's got tiramisu, coffee in here, amaretto liqueur with some vanilla, some brown sugar, ice cream notes in here. So it's very airy, powdery, playful. It's gourmand perfumery, not done in an annoying way. It's not too intense. I find it's more wearable than something like Black Phantom. I think this is just a really interesting fragrance to smell. It's one of my favorite fragrances. It just jumped to the top of my list really quickly in recent times. And I'm usually quite a hater of Mancera. I think their new stuff has just actually surprised me. I think they're just going in a better direction in general. I get 8 to 10 hours longevity with a softer projection. This is a nice, beautiful, interesting smelling evening scent in my opinion. This is my alternative to Black Phantom. Bvlgari's Tygar, a very simple but popular niche fragrance. It's grapefruit, sandalwood, and ambroxan. That's kind of all it is. It kind of has some nice realistic effects from the grapefruit in here, but it's not worth its price tag in my opinion. Go for Alexandria Fragrances Black Panther. So this is a clone that I think gets very similar. It smells very good quality for the price you're paying. And it's I think mil for mil, I think it's around half the price of Tygar. Fantastic signature to go for. I kind of think the guys who love the Aventus-esque family of fragrances will like this as well. It's citrusy, a little bit smoky, woody, but it's its own thing overall. It's not an Aventus clone, it's a Tygar clone. And I just think Tygar, you don't really need to buy it anymore. I think there are fantastic clones out there. If you want to buy an expensive, similarly priced clone of Tygar or a similar idea at the very least, it would be something like Sospira's Vibrato would be my recommendation. At least it has a little bit more going on for it, but they're all kind of in the same family, and Black Panther I think is a steal for the price. If you want to smell attractive, clean, very simple and easy to grab fragrance, then Black Panther might be the signature for you. It lasts about 10 hours with me as well with a medium projection. Xerjoff Naxos, elegant perfumery, tobacco, lavender, honey in here. A lot of people say that this fragrance is often compared to another designer fragrance. I don't really see it too much, but I still think it could be a good alternative, and that is Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Mal Elixir. This is sweet, powdery vanilla with a honeyed effect too here as well. I kind of feel that Elixir is the simpler, more mass-appealing designer version of Naxos, essentially. Naxos has definitely a lot more going for it. It definitely smells like its price tag, but Elixir is also an excellent fragrance for that designer mass appeal. I think it's a great clubbing scent. It's just a great, sexy, and simple evening fragrance. I kind of think it has a similar appeal of something like Pegasus by Parfums de Marly mixed with Naxos. They kind of had a baby and made Elixir, but Elixir is not as heavy as those two fragrances. It doesn't smell as opulent, but it's easier to wear. It's a very easy and lovable vanilla fragrance. So if you love vanilla perfumery, it's one of the most hyped recent releases for a reason. I definitely think you should check it out. And finally, the alternative to these two fragrances, I'm kind of putting them together. It's kind of a bit of a cheat, but I'm saying Oud for Greatness and Dior Sauvage Elixir. I know Sauvage Elixir isn't a niche fragrance, but it's kind of in that price range. It's kind of expensive. And so I'm kind of putting these fragrances together because they got this very intense, masculine, spicy, less sweetness kind of a scent profile that is very commanding and mature in a way. Sauvage Elixir kind of gives me a headache, and Oud for Greatness, you need to appreciate spiciness because it's less of an oud fragrance in my opinion and more of a spiced cabinet fragrance. Super photorealistic, really, yeah, super high quality spices, but that aren't for everyone. So it can be offensive to some people's noses. So these fragrances are expensive, and you definitely have to enjoy the style to go for them. But if you want a more easy to like fragrance that sort of matches that style, go for this. That is Hugo Boss Bottled Elixir. This fragrance really surprised me because I thought people were kind of going for the Elixir vibe just to get some cash. And in fairness, yeah, that probably is one of the reasons, but it's also actually a very good fragrance. It's sort of like they took the spicy warmth of Sauvage Elixir and toned it down and made it more warm and smoothed out with vanillic notes instead. This is sort of functionally similar to Armani Co's Absolute, which is discontinued. Like the same occasions you'd wear that fragrance as sort of like a cold weather signature, you'd wear this as a cold weather signature as well. It's not a clone to Code Absolute, but I feel like people who like that fragrance will probably enjoy this as well. Super elegant, spicy, warm, smoothed out. I think it just kind of makes the Sauvage Elixir DNA less polarizing. It's a really sexy fragrance overall, and I get 10 hours with a medium projection. For the price you're paying, I think this smells better quality than the price that it is. And that concludes this video, guys. What are your thoughts on my list today? Are there any other niche fragrances that you feel there should be some alternatives that are affordable explored as well? Let us hear your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. Share some of your affordable alternative options as well. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to check out our previous video on affordable alternative fragrances. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.